The following is a selected video from masterthecontent.com, where you will find an extensive video library of lectures for a variety of standardized admission tests. We offer over 600 hours of detailed video lectures for a multitude of standardized tests. Use our interactive in-lecture table of contents to find specific topics of interest. Work through numerous in-lecture examples to help you internalize concepts. To learn more, visit masterthecontent.com. Your career, our passion.
Okay, so we're going to move on and we are going to examine the resonance stability of the carboxylate anion. So we have already briefly looked at electron delocalization in the carboxylate group. And what electron delocalization does, that it makes deprotonation or proton abstraction an easier process in acids. So it effectively increases the acidity of carboxylic acids. I'll repeat that. Electron delocalization makes carboxylic acids more acidic. And I'll explain using the diagram we have on the screen right there. We can have any generic base, anything with a lone pair of electrons that you can use to abstract a proton, coming along and removing a proton from this hydroxyl group. So this proton can be abstracted by a base, and that would mean that this pair of electrons used to form the bond between that oxygen and that hydrogen would then move to the oxygen atom. That effectively introduces a negative charge at what was once that hydroxyl group. So a negative charge at that oxygen is therefore introduced. So that negative charge can then be delocalized across these three atoms, the oxygen, the carbon, and that other oxygen right there. How is that made possible? These three atoms have p orbitals that overlap with one another. So those p orbitals can be said to be in conjugation with one another, and for that reason, electrons or electron density can be shared or delocalized into that pi system, resulting in the distribution or the sharing of charge. And that's exactly what happens in the case of the carboxylate anion. This pair of electrons or pair of electrons can come down right here to form a new double bond between this carbon and this oxygen. I'm talking about that bond right there, which would obviously cause that pi bond right there to have to break. And a pair of electrons can move from that bond to that oxygen atom, which effectively shifts or changes the location of the negative charge. So these two are referred to as resonance variants or resonance contributors of the carboxylate ion. And the carboxylate ion can be thought of to be as a composite of these two structures. And that's the carboxylate ion right there. So delocalization in this way will stabilize the carboxylate ion by distributing the negative charge that results from proton abstraction. Anytime you're adding charge to an already electron heavy atom or a very electronegative element, you're adding some degree of destabilization. So that negative charge is destabilizing. But the fact that that negative charge can be spread out across those three atoms right there, it makes it less destabilizing. And in that way, electron delocalization through resonance will make the carboxylate ion more stable, which effectively increases its acidity. A more stable carboxylate ion means that the deprotonation step that produced it is easier. It's more energetically favorable. A stable carboxylate ion means that you have increased acidity of the acid from which it was formed. So we're going to move on.